Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO 44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so now I want to sound off because the Boston Celtics are in the NBA Finals and the Los Angeles Lakers are nowhere near the playoffs. We've been sitting at home for a very long time. Very, very long time. In fact, I'm pretty sure some of our guys are working out because they're at a point where they've probably relaxed too much at this point. That's how long our off season has already been. I think for us, well, I speak for myself as a Laker fan, anticipating coming into this situation, I thought I would feel a lot worse. I really did. I thought I would feel a lot worse. Because, we were anticipating it. Made a couple videos talking about, the Celtics are going to be in the finals. They can't get here. They can't get here. But now that they're here, it's like, well, first of all, they deserve to be here. But we don't. We're not in the conversation. I think Jason Tatum's presence makes it different for us because even though he has no ties to the Lakers professionally, we know he's Kobe's guy and we know he's a Laker fan and we know that we should have drafted him. And he had a Kobe elbow thing on while running him green, kind of letting us know where his heart is at. Of course, his heart is with his team. He's a Celtic for real. He's gonna try to win championship for them. He ain't got no love for us like that at all. Not as a professional, and certainly as he grows as a Celtic and wins as a Celtic, there ain't gonna be no love there either. That's a Celtic. Don't get it twisted. He's not our friend. But what he is somebody who's letting us know. He's letting us know that his solidarity for our franchise is in that remembrance of our guy. You know what I mean? So that made it feel different. But all in all, I'm upset because we're not there. We didn't do our part. It's not about what they're doing. It's not about anything that has to do with green. It's about purple and gold. Where are we? Why are we on the couch? And we've talked about our problems, talked about all our different mistakes, and we're moving on. You know what I mean? I think the Lakers have done some good things over the last week or so, hiring Darvin Ham. There's reason to be optimistic. This is not necessarily a time for us looking inward to say we're not seeing changes and we're unhappy. No, not necessarily. Early on, since the pressure has been applied, it seems like the front office has done things that we want to see them do. I personally feel like I've been listened to be completely honest with you. I know that sounds insane because I don't got no views like that. But I think some of the things that I've suggested, I've seen, the coaching situations particularly have gone exactly the way I wanted them to. So, as a Laker fan, I'm hopeful that this is a sign that we're turning a corner. And even though I have an idea about how I want us to build, there are ways for what it is that we're trying to do to be successful. I just don't like the percentage of that in my, that's my thing. It's basketball. We play the percentages in every way, shape, and form, both on the court and off the court as far as I'm concerned. And I feel like, going the max contract route is really tough. Now, if we could somehow get rid of Russell Westbrook, that'd be great. I think that the chances of us doing that is pretty high, to be completely honest with you. I think that contract holds a lot more value than a common person knows, and we've discussed it a lot on this channel. But at the end of the day, it's up to the Laker front office to make the decision to trade it, and the market will determine whether or not it makes sense to do so. To be completely honest with you, excuse me. To be completely honest with you guys, it may not be feasible to let go of that contract, depending on how people try to lowball us, For all we know, we'll get back worse contracts for many more years and we'll have an even worse financial situation. We need to really consider that because the media will make fans just think things are as simple as getting rid of a guy and that's it. And if you don't get rid of a guy, you chose not to and you're incompetent. But that's not what's going on there at all. What's going on there is it may not be possible to let go of Russell Westbrook. It may not be possible. You may end up taking back something you don't want. So, while I don't think that's ultimately what it will come down to, it's still early on, and right now, the price tag on Russell doesn't look great. In fact, it looks pretty horrible. So, we'll see as the summer progresses what changes there. All in all, I feel good, man. And the reason why I'm so surprised about how I feel as a Laker fan is because I think I've watched the Celtics so much, and I've learned so much about their team specifically this season. And while they're such an incredibly tough team, they're going up against the Splash Brothers, who score for a living. And they just had a real tough time dealing with a team that has very tough time scoring the basketball. Now, I don't know if that equates to anything, to be completely honest with you. I don't really know. But I'm very confident that the Golden State Warriors are going to win the championship. That's why I feel very good. Because even though I haven't broken down this series, the experience of those Splash Brothers and the depth of that team, and you look at that kid, Kevon Looney, knock on wood, everything remains healthy with him. They're going to have to deal with that dude in ways that they didn't have to deal with in regards to the players that they faced in these playoffs thus far. Kevon Looney, and the reason why is because he has so much help. You're dealing with Draymond Green, one of the best defenders in the NBA. So, you got to deal with both of them, and they're such sturdy guys. And then you got Kuminga, who's a young player who scores easy buckets, even though I really wonder how he's going to fare in this series, because those defensive players are going to be very disruptive to him. I can see him having struggles in this series. I don't want to break the series down, but the moral of the story is this: I feel like the Golden State Warriors got a great chance of winning this series. That doesn't mean they're going to do so, but let's say if the Miami Heat roster was the team that was going up against the Warriors here, I'd feel even better that the Warriors would win, to be honest with you. The Warriors would have beat the Eastern Conference team, in my opinion. So, hopefully that plays itself out that way. That's one little silver lining these Laker fans can hang their hats on, that we think that maybe the Splash Brothers experience could save us from complete and utter heartbreak. Because that's exactly what a Celtic championship will do to our fan base. Especially since we just tied them, man. We just tied them, literally. And we see how far we are away from a championship at this point. I think LeBron James would tell us that we're not that far, and if he stays healthy all season long, he's done amazing things in the past. Maybe he can tap into doing more of the same, but it's about whether or not we can put together a roster around him that will allow him an opportunity to really beat some of these teams. And as I can tell, I don't know if the possibility of us doing that is really high. When we talk about playing percentages, it's going to be hard for us to find the pieces. Now, I do believe if we're able to maneuver that Russell Westbrook contract properly, if we're able to do something that allows us to free up that space some amazing way, or bring back some talent that we really, really like and can use, maybe we can build ourselves a couple of advantages, some strong strengths, I guess you can say. Because you're going to have some weaknesses, but maybe we can make ourselves the best something team, even if we just suck in some other areas. And maybe, just maybe, that can be enough to get us over the hump, get us in a position to have our superstars make a push at whatever they can do with whatever we have. That's our best bet. That is our best bet. But we have to effectively get rid of that Russell Westbrook contract. And we got to be honest about what our limitations are right now, as currently constructed with these particular stars. And further on with the contracts that we have. I like some of our pieces. I'm super excited about Austin Reeves. Happy birthday, Austin Reeves. I know that's your birthday today. We're excited about that young fella. We're excited about what we can do in regards to picking up a second-round pick. That's super exciting in my mind, Malik Monk, hopefully we can secure his bag. From what I understand, he's excited about negotiating with the Lakers. I don't know what the heck that means, in terms of if that means he'll sign, but I know he wants to be here, so we want him here, and that's a good start. And look, one of the things I can say about Malik Monk is his value, in my opinion, has gone up in these playoffs with the deficiencies of these Eastern Conference teams particularly, but even more so just the lack of shot making with Dallas. What we've seen in these playoffs shows us that Malik Monk is a player that people should be looking to sign. He is going to shore up a lot of your inefficiency issues. A team like Miami, if he was out there, they wouldn't have lost tonight. I'm going to be honest with you. They could have plugged in Malik Monk in that fourth quarter. He would have lit them up. Either he would have lit them up or they would have beat him up defensively, but he would have been making plays to open players because he's a better playmaker than people think. I think it's a priority that the Lakers re-sign him, and we're going to need to get rid of Russell's contract to do that. So as you can clearly see, it may not be feasible to re-sign him because at the price tag he's going to be, we're probably going to need that to be multiple players. It's a tough spot the Lakers are in, man. But I think that young fella has already proven that he deserves some money. So if he takes a pay cut, that would be a blessing to us. But I don't think he'll have to do that in this free agency. I don't think he'll be forced to do that. So I don't know. The Lakers are in a tough spot, but we value Malik Monk. That I can say for sure. So as I continue to look over at the roster, I like some of the players that we got in that G League, man. The guy that we saw in the final game, I don't even remember his name. His name was completely out of my mind, but he's a big player that can drive at the basket, has some good handles. You think about him, THT, Wenyen Gabriel, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Austin Reeves. Those are players that we actually have already. That's a big lineup already. So as I break down what the Lakers have secured just without even thinking, I already like what I have. Now, I'm not saying I can win a championship with those guys, but what I am saying is that's a little something I can work with in terms of, okay, I know what those players are going to be, and I know that they're secure here. So we already have some big players. We have some defensive players. If we can secure Malik Monk, we have a shooter. We're going to need more players like, I want a KCP type player back here, a defensive 3-and-D type of guy, a DeAndre Hunter type of guy. We need somebody like that who can just be a good knockdown shooter. And then on the other side, fight defensively. The way Max Strus fights, the way Maxi Kleber fights. We need players like that. Give me those two guys. As much as I talk bad about Max Strus, he's the exact type of player I'd want to put on the Lakers because he's feisty. Patrick Beverly, he's been talking about he wants to be a Laker. Can we please secure Patrick Beverly? I know he might want but he might want a bag, to be honest with you. Excuse me. I think Patrick Beverly is probably already under contract. I haven't checked, but if he's a free agent, I think he's probably going to want a little money. But if he wants to be a Laker, I'd be more than happy to bring him here. He seems to have an affinity for playing with LeBron James, and I can't think of any reason why we wouldn't add him to the mix. Not one reason. And I was looking at some of the players on the waiver wire. To be honest with you, it wasn't a lot of names that really stood out that excited me. And so I think the Lakers are probably going to have to try to figure out a way to acquire some players creatively in trade or something of that nature if possible. So I'm pretty sure Rob Pelinka knows what he wants to do in terms of right now. I'd imagine they have some vision now that Coach Ham is in place. They're going to be some things carried over from the Bucks situation. I'd imagine Coach Ham is going to probably we're going to have a taste of that Bucks team on this team next year. I can tell you that. Whether it be us picking up a role player from their team or another assistant coach, you will see some Bucks here from here on out. That's a fact. Because usually when you bring a guy over who's an assistant coach coming from a championship situation, he's going to want some of his guys here. He's gonna have guys that he trusts in his situation, guys who were his guys on that roster who are going to want to follow him. So look for that. I don't know who that guy will be or what what form of that the Lakers will have. But trust you me, Darvin Ham is bringing us something from Milwaukee, and no, it will not be Giannis. I'm not insinuating it will be Giannis. I'm not considering it will be Giannis. But if it is Giannis, I will pray in thanks for the rest of my life. That's how that will go. But no, it will not be Giannis. However, I do look at that Bucks team, and here we go. You know my mind. I'll go all the way with my thoughts. I look at that Bucks team and I say they have 3 max contracts, and while they do have a championship caliber situation, they realize it's probably capped off by the notion that they can't withstand injury if they continue to build this way. So it makes a heck of a lot of sense, in my opinion, for the Bucks to shave one of those contracts, just like we need to do the same. We're getting rid of Russell Westbrook. They need to figure out which of the 2 Bucks they're going to keep long term. Now, I don't think they have to be in a rush to do this season. In fact, I don't know if it benefits them to do this season, but I think it's understood that you can't really win with 3 max contracts. Now, I don't know if they have the trump card, given the fact that they literally have Giannis Antetokounmpo, best player in the world. I think it's easy to say that if you keep the players he's had with him together, he's going to be happy. And I think keeping him happy is what got you him, so it should be what keeps you him. So if I'm in the Bucks organization, I'm turning this video off and I'm not even listening to Brandon no more because he's being ridiculous. But what I'm saying is, if the trend is to be followed, and if the owner has a notion that maybe, just maybe, their team has reached its ceiling being put together this way, given the fact that depth is key in these finals, as you can see, 2 of the deepest teams are left. If he's looking at the struggles of the Lakers and the Nets, if he's looking at the luxury tax he's already paying, I don't know. Maybe as a Bucks owner, you say, maybe I can shave off. Maybe I can downgrade from Jrue Holiday. Maybe I can bring in a lesser expensive point guard and still win. You know what I mean? Maybe I don't trust Chris Middleton to be healthy anymore. Chris Middleton's had health issues, or not health issues, that's the wrong way of putting it, but injury issues throughout his career. And we had a very good season with him last year, which is why he was healthy, but him being injured is more so the norm rather than him balling out like he did in the championship year. So maybe you think his contract isn't so good. All I'm saying is, if I'm thinking this way, I'm sure Rob Pelinka and LeBron James are too. And if they're not, I hope they see this video. You're welcome for the idea. Maybe it's a good idea to see what's up. Since we just got Darvin Ham, I know some imprint from that team. It will be here next season. We're not getting Giannis. But I do think Jrue Holiday might be reasonable. It's an LA guy, UCLA, defensive player. His contract is crazy, but so is Russell Westbrook's. And I don't think they would trade Jrue Holiday for Russell Westbrook necessarily. But, I don't know. Get creative. Things happen. You can make it happen. I know if it's up to me, the way I'm selling Russell Westbrook's contract is the same way I've made videos and told you guys. This is how I'm selling it. It's $47 million if you stretch it right away. $47 million, you're not going to clear up no other way. So if you want one of these superstars that are going to be coming up in free agency soon, Ayton, several others, we have your way if you're that team that wants to compete with the teams with cap space. Because we know those teams are not teams those players want to go to. But you, team without cap space, is. So my Russell Westbrook contract will enable you the opportunity to free up that money and have that player. It could be the championship for you, buddy. That's how I'm selling the Russell Westbrook contract. People telling me it doesn't have no value. It doesn't have any value for the team that refuses to stretch it. But for the team that's willing to get rid of it, they can free up cap space. If that is actually how that goes. If it ain't how it goes, then forget it. Forgive me. But I think that's how that goes. And so they should be able to free up cap space right away. And if not right away, then let it expire like we would otherwise do and have that 47 next summer, for which you're going to want $47 million next summer too. So It's one of those situations where that thing can be sold. You can get a player for that. And for a team like Milwaukee, who probably wants to free up cap space, it might not be a bad idea for them to consider something like that. If, for some reason, they come to the insane conclusion that they need to break up the big three, which I don't think they should. Not really. Not really. Not at all. I actually don't. No, I really don't. I'm serious, I don't. But if, for some reason, the owner decides they tired of paying that money, then you will see something crazy like that take place. Like Sarver not playing Ayton, it's that kind of thing. It's like, of course you pay Ayton, so he keeps you in contention, you keep winning. But if Sarver decides he doesn't want to pay that, and his solution is to save money, I appeal to that. That's all I'm saying. It's literally all I'm saying. So, these are the type of things I want the Lakers to be thinking about, as well as other stuff that my mind will never go to in terms of basketball and X's and O's and things that need to help Darvin Ham have his kind of squad. I'm so very happy that we are allowing him an opportunity to pick his own coaching staff. That is something that really was also a part of what makes me feel real calm about this whole evening. Getting that news before the game was superb for a mind like mine, because all I really want to see from the Lakers is for them to just do things the right way. That means a lot more to me than landing the biggest next star or doing something brash that ultimately fits the narratives of these big networks. I don't care about that. I just want to see us start to maneuver our environment in such a way that welcomes people to have a chance to just do what it is that they do. If they make their mistakes, cool. But we've hired someone we believe in, and we're going to empower them to do what it is that they do best in their way. We don't bring somebody to us to be what we want them to be. We have an idea about who we want, and we find that person and let them be themselves. That's how you handle this. Don't try to mold people. I think the Lakers tried to mold Frank Vogel, and it drove him completely insane, if you ask me. So, all in all, I think the Lakers are getting off to a good start with Darvin Ham, and I want to see them continue that. And I appreciate the pressure that's been applied to our franchise, making our front office do things a certain way now. Not allowing them to just think that what they're doing is going to be the right way to go in all of our eyes. It's not. You gotta make it so that the pressure that these people take when they put on a uniform and become Lakers isn't compounded by us, because it's going to be applied by the outside world. You know what I mean? So that's all I want the Lakers to do. The Stephen A's and the Maxes and all those guys, they're going to be talking about the Lakers. Let them have something good to say about us for a change. Let's get back to being a good team. And it's not about making the big splash. I think that's the misconception for the Lakers front office. They think the big splash is what's going to make them the best. But no, making the right moves is going to make you the best. That's what Dr. Buss did. He did things the right way. And because he did things the right way, LA and his swagger attracted the best and the brightest. And that gave him leverage. That gave him favor. That kept us around forever. You got to understand how this worked. You just got to do it the right way first. Fundamentals first. Making sure the basketball people are in place, empowered to do basketball things first. Then other people can start getting credit around them and all that. But it has to be about the fundamentals. It's got to be about the fundamentals of not only the game, but the game above the game, which is the cap game. And all that other complicated stuff that we don't really know much about as fans. But you got to understand that game. You got to have professionals in that game. And the analytics guys and everybody else, of course, working in unison to make it all come together. Anytime we get away from that, it's a problem. And I'll tell you something else. Now, this is me loosely thinking. I don't know what I'm talking about when I say this, but if it is as described, I think it should change. This is what I'm saying here. We have a lot of players on our team that do their own thing in terms of working out. They got their own trainers as described by people who've talked about the team. I think we need to have a situation where, yes, everybody has their own trainers, but guys need to work together more this season than they did in the previous seasons. Now, I don't know if that equates to having, trainers working in unison with one another so that players can spend more time with one another. But I think that's the way to go. I want to see Bron and AD training together. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I respect AD so much. I don't think he's getting the most out of his body. And I think he needs more gym time, more time around Bron's people, I guess, so they can turn him into what he needs to be to sustain. That's been the biggest. Look, I don't know what I'm talking about. I have to preface that by saying it just appears this way because I want people to know how aware I am that I'm not in those situations. But I'm just saying it appears that the biggest mistake Bron has made with AD is not taking him under his wing from a physical standpoint to say, bro, we gonna get in this gym. I'm gonna turn your body into something else, man. You gonna get with me and we gonna get right. Like that was what I was hoping was gonna happen, you know. And I don't know if that was not on the table. These is grown men. I don't know how they feel, but the most important thing for AD is to get his body right. And while he has his own trainers, they doing their own thing. I think it's time to do some different things. And when you get next to a guy like LeBron James, that should be part of the blessing of being next to LeBron James. I'm going to get my body right because I'm going to be working next to this guy. That's what people used to say about working next to Kobe. My work ethic's about to be crazy because I'm about to go play with the man. I know he's going to kick our butts, but I'm going to walk out of this thing 10 times better because I'm going to go through the training that he's going to put me through, and that would be one of the great things about playing with that player. So for me, it's like, you come and play with Bron? Oh yeah, I'm about to trim down my body fat. I'm about to figure out exactly how to train. I'm about to be doing all kinds of different types of exercise. And maybe that is the case, but I just keep hearing about AD having his own trainers. I see Bron in the footage. He's working out without AD. Get in there and really do it together, guys, because I think y'all being on the same page, just in general, this year more so than y'all been in the past, is what's going to ultimately help you overachieve with whatever it is we're dealing with. Y'all got to be focused. Y'all got to be healthy. Y'all got to be balanced, in unison, and y'all got to be ready for the adversity that comes with a limited roster early. Got to be ready for that now. And it's not just physical. It's about making certain decisions. You know what I mean? And coming together and being honest about certain things, working certain things out that have really, honestly, everything to do with taking care of yourself physically. So that's what I got. That's what I got there, man. It's just a mindset that I want to see those two players come together and have approaching this season. We're not expecting to win a championship, but we do expect for both of them to get the most out of themselves this year together, And if we can walk out of this season feeling good about this season, that's a win for me, man. However that play out, I don't even know what that even looks like. But if we can end the season feeling good about the season, I'll be happy. That's all I want. So that's what I got. That's what I got, man. Celtics in the finals. Hopefully they lose. I think they're going to lose. Hopefully they do. And I just wanted to address everybody and let my mind flow basketball style, let's let it flow. So that's what I did here. I don't even know what I'm going to call this video, but I thank you all for watching it. BDF44. I'm out.